Praise be to you, Yahuah my Elohim. Praise be to your Son, Yahusha my Messiah. I come at your feet in the name of your Son. Thank you for the knowledge you pour unto me, and thank you for breaking all the shackle that was bound on my face. Yahuah, you are the only true living God. Indeed. Thank you for your Yahusha, whom you truly love. You are Elohim, the Elohim of the Yahudim.
Shalom, family. This is the Remnant Awakens, and I'm your brother, Pierre Ligi. I'm glad you're here, whether you're tuning in for the first time or you've been walking this journey with me for a while. You know, every episode, we dig a little deeper. We challenge what we've been taught, and we try to get back to the roots, the real roots of our faith. Today, I want to talk about something that honestly, Christianity has tried to hide for a long time. And I know that's a bold statement, but just stick with me. We're going to talk about the Torah and why every prophet, every single one, kept it. And not just the prophets, but the apostles too. So, let's get into it. All right. So before we go any further, let's just clear up what the Torah actually is. I know some of y'all might be thinking, isn't that just the law? Like a bunch of rules? But it's so much deeper than that. Torah is Yahuah's instructions. It's his law, yeah, but it's also his standard, his divine standard of righteousness. It's like, if you want to know what pleases the Most High, you look at the Torah. It's not just about do's and don'ts. It's about relationship. It's about walking in the way he set out for us. And I mean, if you listen to one of the previous episodes, we talked about how Torah means instruction, not just law. It's guidance. It's love. It's the blueprint for living set apart. So when we talk about the prophets, we gotta remember, they weren't just random guys with visions. They were men who lived by the Torah, who called Yasharel back to it every time Yasharel went astray. Now, let's get into the prophets. I'm not just gonna list names and move on. Let's actually look at how they lived. Take Mosheh, Moses, for example. He literally received the Torah from Yahuah on Mount Sinai. He didn't just write it down and say, all right, do what you want. He lived it, he taught it, he judged by it, and then you got people like Samuel. When Yasharel wanted a king, Samuel warned them, but he always pointed them back to the Torah, to the commandments. Or Elijah, Eliyahu, he confronted the prophets of Baal, but his whole message was, turn back to the commandments, turn back to the Torah. Even the so-called minor prophets, like Micah or Amos, they weren't inventing new rules. They were calling out injustice, idolatry, all the stuff that breaks Torah. Every time Yasharel fell, it was because they left the Torah. And every time a prophet showed up, it was to call them back. That's the pattern, over and over. And, I mean, if you look at the Psalms, David, he says, oh, how I love your Torah, it is my meditation all day. That's not just poetry, that's a lifestyle. So, when people say the prophets were just about visions or miracles, now, they were Torah keepers, first and foremost. Now, here's where it gets a little controversial, especially if you grew up in church. Christianity loves to say, Paul, Shaul, taught against the law, Torah. But honestly, that's just not true. I mean, let's just think about it. Every single apostle, from Kepha, Peter, to John, to Paul, They were all raised in Torah. That was their culture, their foundation. Even Yahusha kept the Torah perfectly. He said, "I didn't come to abolish the Torah, but to fulfill it." And Shaul, Paul, if you actually read his letters, he never says, "Throw out the Torah." He talks about not being justified by works of the law alone, but he also says, "Do we then make void the law through faith? Certainly not. On the contrary, we establish the Torah." That's Romans chapter 3, verse 31, by the way. So, the idea that the apostles just ditched the Torah and started something new? That's a lie. They were Torah observant, and they taught others to be as well. It's just over time, traditions and doctrines crept in and twisted the message. And honestly, that's why so many people are confused today. But if you go back to the source, it's clear the apostles walked in Torah just like the prophets before them. I want to give you a warning, and it's not from me. It's straight from Scripture. 1 John chapter 2 verse 4 says, "He who says, 'I know him,' and does not keep his commandments is a liar, and the truth is not in him." That's heavy, right? It's not about lip service. It's about obedience. You can't claim to know the Most High and then ignore his instructions. And look, I'm not saying this to condemn anybody. I'm saying it because I care. We've been lied to for too long. The prophets kept the Torah, the apostles kept the Torah, and if we want to be part of the remnant, we got to return to it too. It's not about being perfect, it's about being willing. Willing to learn, willing to obey, willing to let go of traditions that don't line up with Scripture. That's the real test. Family, the truth is clear. The Torah is still valid. Every prophet obeyed it. Every apostle upheld it. Yahusha fulfilled it and called us to walk in it. This is the narrow way. I'm Pierre Ligi, your brother from the tribe of Yahudah, and this is the Remnant Awakens. If this episode opened your eyes, like the video, subscribe if you're awakening to truth. Comment with what stood out. Share this with someone who's been told the law is done away with. Until next time, Shalom. See you all on the next episode.
Praise be to you, Yahuah my Elohim. Praise be to your Son, Yahusha my Messiah. I come at your feet in the name of your Son. Thank you for the knowledge you pour unto me, and thank you for breaking all the shackle that was bound on my face. Yahuah, you are the only true living God. Thank you for your Yahusha, whom you truly love. You are Elohim the Elohim.